We are joined by Alamogordo Tigers head football coach AJ Cisco as we get ready for a stretch of 2 road games here for the Tigers, but most importantly, coming off a win last week, Coach.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me again, and we're 2-1. I mean, it's good to win homecoming. We told our kids after the game that no matter whatever the score said or how we played, it still shows up as a W, and we're now 2-1, and they got to enjoy homecoming. That dance is a little bit more fun now.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's one of those things that, good teams find ways to win games when they don't play especially well. And, I mean, I think there were things that you guys did well, but offensively, obviously, it was a struggle. But, overall, as a team, to find a way to, when you hadn't done anything offensively, to break a big play like that and score towards the end of the game was huge.
Yeah, and that's a credit to our kids. And like me and you have talked, that's something that we haven't done in the past 6 years. Is if things are going bad, we just kind of let it snowball into a bad situation where we just compound negative things, and we ended up just staying the course and playing and keep plugging along, and finally made a play when we needed to win a game and got it done. And that's a credit to our kids of buying into our philosophy of just put your nose to grindstone and go. And I couldn't be prouder of them. After the game, we as a staff, we talked about it. Like that's a game that we haven't won in 6 years. We would find a way to blow that and do something crazy. And our kids just were resilient, and we did not play well offensively. It was pretty bad offensively. Defensively kept us in the game, and then made a big 4th down stop to give us the ball and let us pop a big play.
Talk about the defense, because, man, they were on the field so much, especially in that second half, and for them to be able to still, show some energy and be able to make plays really says a lot about, I think more than anything, the work that those kids are putting in the offseason.
Oh, yeah, that's 100%. So everything we do from January till August is all what culminates now, and you see the effect of it. When we just keep playing, we're in shape because of what we've done from January until now. And you look at it, I mean, Gadsden had the ball a lot in the second half, and they're big, and they are just wearing on us. And our kids just kept rising to the occasion and getting a stop here and getting a stop there, and not necessarily 3 and outs, but like we go to that 4th down stop. I mean, we finally had a run through by a backer and get a big tackle for a loss, cut them short. Our kids just are resilient, and I couldn't be prouder of this group of kids and our coaching staff for just continuing to buy into what we do as a program, and it's going to pay dividends.
You had your 2 corners have interceptions last week. You had your 2 safeties come up with picks this week, and Ephraim had such an incredible play towards the end of the game where he managed to get that. I mean, you're getting a lot from your secondary. I thought the defensive line played well. Guys like Morale, Lotta had a good game, and good to see the linebacking core as well. Noah Garza had another good game for you guys.
They did, and defensively, like I said, and it's kind of what we talked about is we go to the first game of the year, and defensively we played okay. I mean, we had a couple of big plays we gave up that kind of put us in a bad situation, but offensively played really well. And then we go to the week 2 against Las Lunas, and we come out and we have 2 or 3 really good series defensively, and then offensively we figure it out and start moving the ball up and down the field. And we've never really got them to all to coexist together, including special teams. Then last week we had defense and special teams play really well, and offensively we struggled. So at some point we're going to figure it out and put it all together, and hopefully it's tomorrow night in Capitol against a good team in the Jaguars. But it's like I said, our kids keep playing. They love what we do. We love them to death, and they're resilient as heck, and I couldn't be prouder of them. And I want to thank the community, man. It was a cool atmosphere. Had a ton of people out here for homecoming night. People were telling me that if they took everybody that was standing around, made them sit down, there wouldn't be an empty seat in the house. And that was a cool environment. And that's something special about one-school towns. When you go to Cruces and it's a homecoming game, those bleachers aren't full. And so I can be prouder of this community for responding and showing up to the game, and not just for football, but for all the other people that were participating. You got band, you had ROTC, you had cheerleaders, student athletic trainers. Like it was a cool environment. It felt like a true Friday night in West Texas.
Yeah. You mentioned special teams as well. Another shout out to Aiden Vasquez, who's really had a good season. We joked about it before the start of the season of, no money, what were we going to do with kickers? Boy, he's really stepped into that role and has excelled at it this year.
He is, and he's going to continue to get better. And he's just a sophomore, so we're excited for the rest of this year and the next 2 years with him. And it's a little different with him because he is such an athlete that he does play other positions for us, and he's not just a true kicker, so he doesn't spend all his time kicking. But he's continually improving and handling punts. He can punt the heck out of a football. Kickoff, he's continuing to get better, and eventually, hopefully, by the end of this year or next year, we can just start putting him in the end zone and not have to cover and kick so much. But I couldn't be happier about our special teams and our special teams coordinator, Coach Singleton, and our staff getting after it this past week and coaching the heck out of special teams and really focusing on improving that aspect of us. And I thought our kids did a very good job in covering kicks, covering punts. We didn't give up any big returns. We took care of the ball. We had a shot to get a couple of punts back when they muffed the kicks, and we didn't do that. But, I mean, we covered kicks extremely well, and I was very pleased with that to give us a chance to stay in the game, especially when we were struggling.
Attention obviously turns to Capital this week. Team you guys beat at home last year. You make their long road trip up to Santa Fe this week, and that's, I mean, I think that's part of the aspect of this as well. This is a long road trip, probably the longest you guys have this year, either this or Hobbs. But having that mentality and going into it and focusing on it the right way, I'm sure is a big discussion for you guys. This week.
Is, and it's a long road trip. It's a Thursday night game, so it's a little different in our normal routine. So this week's kind of been condensed, but. We still treat it as Friday. We tell our kids all the time that there's balls gonna get teed up, somebody's kicking it at 7 o'clock, and football's getting played, and nobody cares about the other things that are happening or what got us there. And we got to play well, and it's been a challenge to us offensively to respond, especially how poorly we played last week. And as the play caller, that goes a lot on me in putting our kids in situations to be successful. And I think our kids are going to be okay. I think they're excited about the opportunity. The good part about playing on Thursdays, it's one less day you have to wait to try to rebound and put on a better performance than you did the week before. So, and our kids will handle a long road trip pretty well. They got a taste of it when we went to Los Angeles. I thought our kids handled it extremely well, being on the bus for over 3 hours. Our normal routine doesn't really change when we go somewhere. It's just handling a long bus ride, and this one will be a little bit longer. But our kids are excited. I think it's a new place. It's one of the few schools I haven't been to in this state, so I'm kind of excited to go to Capital. I've never been to that place, so I don't know what it'll look like. But they said they got new turf, so maybe that'll be nice.
Yeah. Well, and you talked about offensively. Their defense, you were telling me before the game, had 3 scores last week. So clearly an opportunistic defense, and it's important for you guys to not give them those chances this week.
Yeah, they played Los Alamos last week for homecoming, and they got beat 23-20, but they scored 3 defensive touchdowns. They had 2 pick sixes and a scoop and score fumble for another touchdown with the D lineman. So they are opportunistic. We do have to take care of the football, and that's something that we've done an okay job of this year, is not turning the ball over. But we've got to maintain that. And the biggest thing is we got to sustain drives. We had too many 3-and-outs against Gadsden where we get behind the sticks, and we've talked all year that we have to be ahead of the sticks to continue to do what we do offensively. And we got to take care of opportunities when they present themselves, and that's something we were very poor at last week, and that falls on my shoulders as well. So we got to get locked in, go up there, play well, and when opportunities present itself, we got to get after them. They're going to give us probably 2 different looks defensively based on what we give them in a formation-wise, and let's see how our kids adapt and react to it.
And you also were talking previously as well that they've got some really talented skill players. So from the offensive side for your defense, obviously got to keep a close eye on those. And as you always say, make sure you keep them in front of you, right?
Yeah, we want to keep everything front there, and they're going to screen us to death and try to get their skill kids in space, and they can run. I mean, they're going to have a ton of skill kids with speed. We got to keep them in front. We got to tackle well, and that's something that I thought we've done an okay job at times this year of tackling well, but we're going to have to tackle out in space extremely well this week to have success and have a shot to win. And you go back to last week, I thought that's something that Gadsden excelled at, was tackling, and I thought they tackled extremely well, and that's credit to their staff, and we've got to be able to do the same thing on Thursday night to give us a shot to win and just do what we do defensively. I mean, we do a lot better job last week of lining up correctly and executing our assignments, and we got to continue that.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. Capital has beaten Grants this year and then lost to St. Mike's and Los Alamos. So I know you guys would love to get to 3-1, and obviously you'd love to get to 4-1 before district begins. That certainly could help things out when playoff time closes.
Yeah, and like our biggest focus is get 3-1 this week, and then we'd love the shot to go back down to El Paso next week and have a shot to go to 4-1, and then sit pretty good going into district and feel good about ourselves. And I think the most important thing that we do tomorrow is when we walk off that field, we feel better about ourselves and our performance in getting ready and to go into this district season, which will be a grind. And I mean, people look at our district and see that the district's only won 4 or 5 games out of the 6 teams that are in it, and that's not a direct reflection of how tough this district is. I mean, the schedules these guys play in our district are brutal, and they're going to be extremely tough opponents. I mean, you got Crucified sitting at 0-3, Centennial's 1-2, but just knocked off La Cueva. I mean, there's some big time talent in this district, and we've got to be able to play our best come that last weekend of September for the next 5 weeks.
All right, Coach. Good luck this week, and we'll see you up there.
I appreciate it, man. Go Tigers.
All right.